Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lexi and today we're doing another pick a card. Today's pick a card is a special one. We have another collaboration and today's collaboration is with Jess Tarot. So thank you to Jess for reaching out to do this collaboration. And we are going to be taking a look at how you help and save yourself and how you help and save others. Jess came up with the title, like the topic, and my heart literally sang when I read that title because I was like, that is so beautiful, and I've never really done a reading like that before. So again, shout out to Jess for thinking of the topics because I just think they're so beautiful. So over on my side of the collaboration, I'm going to be taking a look at how you help and save others and how you've helped and saved others in your life, and then Jess will be taking a look at how you help and save yourself. Now when I mean how you've helped and saved others, it's going to come in a variety of different ways, but it's basically going to be in the sense of not you going out and literally saving people, unless maybe you have done that. More so in the sense of like how you've held space for people and helped them. Little things that you've done that you may not even realize have helped people, but they have. Ways that you've activated people, ways that you've, looked out for people and comforted people and nurtured people in times when you might not have realized they were really going through it. And I'm really excited to bring these messages through because I just think that's so beautiful. So I will have the link to Jess' channel in my description box with the link to her part of the collaboration as well. But yeah, let's get in. I have 4 crystals for you guys to choose from. Pile number 1 is the amethyst crystal. I'm not going to move it because it's a Sophia, obviously, as you can see, and if I knock it, it'll just roll about. But that's what we have for pile number 1. Pile number 2, we have the clear quartz. Pile number 3, we have the rose quartz heart. And pile number 4, we have the pyrite. So see which crystal you're drawn to. The timestamps are going to be in the description box as usual. And I will see you guys at your timestamp. Hey pile 1, welcome to your reading. So we are taking a look at how you help and save others. So you guys chose the amethyst to Sophia. I'm going to start with tarot and then we'll move on to your oracle cards. So let's get in. Pile number 1, please, spirit guides. How have my pile number 1s helped and saved others? We have justice. One thing that I'm picking up straight away is that you always know what to say. I think that you guys, when somebody's going through it and people will be like, oh, it'll be okay. That's nice to say, but sometimes it's not really necessarily holding space. Whereas I feel like there's words that you say or outlooks that you bring to people that have them look at a situation that they're going through in a different way, which you don't realize it because you're just passing off some of your wisdom, but you're actually giving them a tool to comprehend the situation better, to look at it different, and to maybe even see a silver lining. I think that the words and the wisdom that you give people are metaphorically tools that you're handing to people to help them deal with whatever challenges and adversities they have in their life. And I think that especially with you guys choosing the amethyst crystal, I think that you guys are super intuitive and clairvoyant, and I think that you are able to see energy, even if it's not like visually seeing auras and visually seeing energy in that way. It's just a way that you're able to comprehend a situation deeper than some people might be able to, because I feel like you've accessed this side of yourself super strongly, that you're able to bring people down to the depths of a situation, or really bring people down to the depths and the truth and the origins of something that they may be going through, and really help enlighten them over things that they might not have been able to see. So you're able to see things deeper and then pass on that wisdom and maybe even clear that fog for them so that they're able to see as well, which is really, really beautiful. I think that you have such a beautiful perspective on life and on things that you've gone through, that passing on that wisdom really helps others, be able to pass through those heavy waves better, Pile, I think you guys will also make like really excellent like motivational speakers, therapists, counselors, psychologists. It's just the way that you're able to pass on information and see what other people might not be seeing. Pile number ones, please, spirit guides. How do my pile number ones save and help people around them? We have the Magician. How do my pile number ones save and help people around them? We have the Two of Cups. Pile number, I'm hearing I'll Be There For You, the Friends theme song. Pile number one, please, spirit guides. We have the Three of Pentacles as well. Let me get these over here. Pop your crystal up against the perfumes. Pop it here. Let's take a look here, back of the deck. We have Two of Wands at the back of the deck. You also are a really good helping hand. Like, I really do feel like you guys are really loyal to the people that are around you, and I feel like you're the type of person to really stick up or really be there for people when they really need you. Because there's a reference of you being somebody that's very dependable. You have a very strong, like, inner divine mother and a divine father that is very activated within you, where you really take care and look out for people. I keep being shown somebody with their arms open like a hug, but like the arms are like really long, and then I'm like being brought into your embrace sort of thing, which is really, really really beautiful. So we have the Justice, the Magician, Two of Cups, Three of Pentacles. This is the thing about you guys as well, because you've met your depth. So you've reached I keep being shown like you guys go into the deep parts of maybe your subconscious. I also see that life has thrown a lot of curveballs at you, and you've had to kind of alchemize and go with the flow. And you know, you've been in your shadow energy, you've been in your lighter energy, you've been back and forth. I feel like you've seen things from so many different perspectives, that you have so much wisdom to pass on, that I feel like you also help people overcome. Let me put it into words, because I'm being shown an energy, I'm not actually being told it. Okay, so say now somebody has a wound with a friend, and they feel like this friend wasn't necessarily there for them, so that wound is like triggering their own abandonment wounds, and then also it's making them feel like the connection is imbalanced. You have lived a life, so you've been the friend that's felt that way, but you've also been the friend that needed time out. You've also been the friend that needed to step away. You've also been the friend that needed to, you know, go into hermit mode and not really show up for people sometimes, because you've had to show up for yourself first. Otherwise, how could you be there for people? So because you've been both ends of the spectrum, you're able to show people with the eye here on the Justice card. You're able to show people and bring people clarity that sometimes it might not be about them, which then liberates them from a wound of maybe abandonment or feeling left out in the cold. You're able to help people see things from somebody else's perspective. It's like I'm being shown a fire, and then you guys sizzling it out, putting it out, but you do so with your wisdom and being able to explain it. I'm seeing two people, and they're at, you know, they're at heads with each other, they're about to fight with each other, they're really angry. You just being in the middle, you're able to help person A understand person B, and person B understand person A, because you have a way of being able to mold yourself into a frequency of different people, and able to see why they're moving in a certain way, as well as being a proper realist and being like, maybe you could have done it better, maybe you could have done it like this. But you have a way of being able to do that, which is really interesting, which brings mental clarity to people with this Justice card. I feel like you're putting out fires a lot. You just come across as that type of person, or you at least have the ability to be able to do that, to be able to stop arguments there, because it's like you're speaking from your love language, you're speaking from your love language, and you're both misinterpreting, but you're both coming from the same place, which is really, really lovely. I do want to say as well, because of these constant rebirths that you've gone through, maybe you've done a lot of shadow work, maybe you've just gotten through a lot in life and you've had to evolve, and maybe you've had to grow up quite quickly. You have this really strong empathy and this strong clairsentient way about you, which is kind of very watery, where you're able to mold yourself, like I said, to fit what other people are going through, because maybe you went through that 3 years ago, maybe you went through it 9 years ago, but you're able to really understand people. And I don't think sometimes you realize people feeling understood, people knowing that someone knows what they're going through, people feeling like they can relate to somebody, that helps so much. When you are going through something and you feel alienated, or you feel stuck, or you feel insecure, and then somebody else understands you and sees you, because you have a great ability in seeing people, it's like, that's a comfort that it's almost hard to even put into words. It makes, when you feel seen and you feel touched and you feel understood, and it's like, oh, I know what I'm doing now because this person went through it and they got out of it, it gives you an understanding. You're no longer confused. You no longer feel like a jellyfish being chucked about in the tides. You feel understood. Now you feel like you have a map, and now you feel like somebody gets you, and you're no longer alone, and no longer feeling alone through wounds and trauma. That can save people. Being seen the way that you're able to see people and holding space in that way, that saves people, that helps people so much. And you have such a beautiful ability to be able to do that, that people not only are able to see themselves through you, but are also able to lean on you and count on you, especially with this Two of Cups and then the Three of Pentacles as well. You know, I think that you teach people. You know, I keep feeling like people would be like, oh, I'm gonna ask my pal number one about this because they went through something like this and I want to get their expertise, or I've just come out of a relationship and I don't really know how to deal with this, but I know my pal number ones will be able to do that. And I would say for some of you guys, you probably are quite open with maybe psychic abilities, because there's this feeling of people coming to you for insight, which again, when there's a fog and somebody is able to cut through that or just make you understand the fog better, that really helps in not be, you know, feeling lost. That really helps in being able to put two and two together and make sense of a situation, and that can be very comforting. And I think you really comfort people with your words, the way that you are able to give guidance through the storm in that way. I feel like you are, I wouldn't necessarily say you're somewhat of a lighthouse. It's more, I'm hearing that song, When You Need Me, Call Me, SOS, the ABBA song, I can't remember the name, but I just shared that. I just feel like you're really there for people. I feel like you really help people feel seen, and it's more than just like, oh, that person's there for me, they I didn't want to walk home alone and they were there. It's so much deeper because it's energetic. You know, a lot of people, because a lot of people tend to put masks on or put pride in front of everything else, a lot of people will go through life not really being seen. Whereas you have an ability to see people, and that sort of intimacy is rare, and that's where you help people and you save people in that way, because it's like they get it. My pile number ones get it. They get me, and I feel comforted and I feel touched and I feel whole, you know, which is really, really beautiful here. So you have such a strong empathy and ability to hold space for people, and that really nurtures people. So let's pull on your other oracle cards. So pile number one, please, spirit guides. How do my pile number ones save and help others? We have Medicine Mask, authenticity. See, you see people even when they're trying to put a mask on. Like, for example, I used to, I'll try and describe it. I used to have a friend who, she would try and find her worthiness in relationships and boys, and she'd chase them, but she'd try to make out that it was like they were chasing her, and I could see that that wasn't the case, and I could see that a lot of her worth came from that, because the minute somebody wasn't responding or something like that, she would get very upset. But the mask she was putting in front of her was, oh yeah, I get my worthiness for myself, and it, you know, I left that person on red, but then you'd see that person left her on red, but she'd twist it, and it was more out of pride and not wanting to be seen as less than, because she felt like she was getting her worthiness from that person. And with the Medicine Mask and authenticity, not only do you show up to people authentically, but you see through the masks that people are going to put on, and you see maybe the wounded inner child, the, you know, the shadow, the angry part of themselves, that really that anger is coming from fear. You see more, and you're able to speak to the person behind the mask, and that's why there's this intimate, hearty energy that people feel when they think of you, because you see parts of them that they choose to hide away. And not only that, you don't preach, you relate, because you show those parts of you too. You show up authentically too and go, yep, that was me 5 years ago, that was me 9 years ago, and I went through this, and I've experienced this, and maybe I still go through this, and that's how I'm relating to you. That version of me sees that version of you. That inner child in me sees that inner child version in you. And there's such a humble approach there. And I think that's really beautiful, because sometimes when we're able to see people deeply, some people could even take advantage of that and kind of use it as like, well, come to me, I've got your answers. And you don't do that. You don't do that at all. You see people as your equal, and kind of, like I said on my post on Instagram the other day, you help walk people home, not to be like, I know the way, but you hold space so that they can find their own route home. You don't try and make them walk your route. You hold that space for them to find their way, which is really beautiful, because I don't think you try to change people, which is really, really lovely. Pile number 1, please, Spirit Guides. We have the Tree of Life, Conception. This is the thing, you take people back to their root. Like, somebody could be going back and forth in an imbalanced relationship, but you see the root of it. You see that it happened in childhood. You see that it was connected to the inner child. You see that it was connected to that person not feeling loved in their childhood, so now they're trying to feel love through relationships. And you speak not to the leaf but the root, because that's where the cause is. And you really help people and hold space for that wound to flow out, which is so beautiful, the depth that you have. And then we have Stone People, Knowing. And this is the thing, you don't try and force your way, and I think that's how you help people, because you don't try and force your way in and try to go around healing everybody and making people do things your way. You really do listen, you really do listen and give the advice that you feel called to, which I feel is almost spiritually, Alright guys, my phone was ringing then and I got distracted. But yeah, I feel like with the Knowing card, I feel like there are codings that you speak to people, spiritual codings, spiritual messages that you pass on, which is so beautiful and so deep. And I think that's why you touch people as well. There's something about, the words and even just the space that you hold for people. It's comforting. Pile number 1, please, Spirit Guides. How do my pile number 1 save and help others? We have Waken the Lion. The same way that you see people's wounds and you see people's shadow and inner child, you also see the highest potential in people, and I feel like you activate that. So it's like somebody could be feeling really down and out. You always serve as a reminder of what they could become, you know what I mean, what they could grow into, what they can tap into, because you see it in them, which is so beautiful. And I feel like it activates this fierceness in people, it activates this confidence, this strength in people, which again is that tool to help them move forward from where they're at. So I feel like the sun activates the plants to grow, I feel like you do activate the light in people, and hold space for people to come into that too, and again, you don't force people to do it, you just relate to people, and you pour into people and hold space while they grow. And it's because of that then people feel like they have the tools to align with that version of themselves. Sometimes people just need a reminder, and I feel like you are here a lot of the times to remind people. We have Open to Discovery. What I'm getting with that card as well is, the way, like I said, you look at the depth, but with a depth like the tree going down to the roots, the tree then also grows super high. And I feel like as well as you see in the depth, you're able to activate and have people ponder over how high the tree can go. And that could be in regards to, spirituality and how deep they can go, and the depth that is, connected to life. For a lot of people, their egos will keep them in a box, and I feel like you do serve as a catalyst to help people break out of that box and open up to better possibilities, where maybe their soul mission is, or maybe their potential is, or maybe certain gifts are for them, or certain healing is for them. You're always encouraging people to kind of reach for the stars in that way. And you don't give people like all of the answers, you give the breadcrumbs for people to find the answers themselves, which is really, really beautiful. Pile number 1, please, Spirit Guides. Call of the Muse. It's raining if you can't hear. Again, with Call of the Muse, that's more so coming through in regards to the activation that you have within people. Like, your compliments as well go a really long way. Like, I see you turning to somebody and being like, oh my god, I really love your hair. When in actuality, that person may have been super insecure about their hair. That person might not have even seen that beautiful part of themselves. And I think, like, you have people, because there's something about the compliments you give are different. It's not just like the average confidence boost of like, oh yes, like body goals, oh yes, your eyes look nice. It's so much deeper than that. It's like, I'm trying to think of a word. Like, you'd give the, I'm trying to think of like a way in which you'd give a compliment that would, like, you would say to somebody, your voice is so soothing, it's so healing, you have, let's say, healing chords in your voice, and the way that you speak, it's so maybe silky, or it's so raspy, and it's comforting, and it, like, the way you'd give a compliment, it goes all the way down to the root. It's not just like, oh yeah, I like your hair color. It's so much deeper that it goes a really, really long way, because there's meaning behind the compliments that you give. And I think people do trust and value what you have to say, whether it's a compliment or just guidance, because again, you show up very authentically and people know you mean it. And I think that really helps people, you know, the light that you shine into people, it helps them see the light in themselves, which is really beautiful, and it activates that light within themselves. And the words you speak are tools to help people work through their own wounding. And I think that in itself is super beautiful. And I feel like that's how you've helped and saved people. In the back of the deck, we have the power of purpose. So I feel like you help people without realizing it connect with their purpose, or even if they're going through a specific wound at that moment or a clearing in that moment, I feel like you help people see the greater purpose of it, see the silver lining and work through it, and see things in a higher perspective. And especially the way that you help people see things in a higher perspective, it really has helped people get over certain situations in their life. So pile number 1, that is what I have for you guys. I really hope that you enjoyed the reading. Hit the thumbs up and comment down below if you did. I will have the link to Jess's channel in the description box with her side of the collaboration. And yeah, hopefully I will see you guys in my next video. So thank you guys for watching. Hey pile 2, welcome to your readings. So we are taking a look at how you have helped others and how you have saved others. I've had a tricky start with you guys because I actually started filming twice. Messages came through. It took me a second. I felt like I had to tailor myself into a specific frequency to be able to bring the messages through, and align myself into such a state of flow for you guys. Not that I wasn't doing that anyway, it just felt more grand, and I felt like I had to tailor my brain to make certain things make sense a second. Which Spirit kind of referenced that I was a little bit extra human today and I had to really, you know, when I do my starseed readings and I'm really like wide open, prepped, and, you know, meditated for some time before I'm bringing them through, the messages through, I had to really stabilize my energy because it took me a second to put what I was being shown into words. So let me explain that to you guys. You guys naturally, in your natural state, operate at a frequency that is very tailored to you, to the point that it's almost like I'm in another realm sort of thing. And people are only then able to really see you and understand you when they are also operating in that frequency and energy. But what is also beautiful about you is that you are able to, what I'm being told, make your way onto land. So think of a fish really deep down at the bottom of the ocean, but they're mammals and then can also make their way onto land. So similar to pile number 1, you're able to align and shift your energy to match who you're around. What that does then is mirror who you are around if they're not looking at you in your natural frequency. And I think that a lot of the times that may be how you relate to people, and align with people, especially if because you feel quite open to spirit, especially if they don't see life in the way that you do. You may have to tailor the way that you speak to people and speak with people and talk to people and navigate through connections with people and morphing yourself into what's needed of you at the time. And I think that it's quite interesting that for me to read your energy, it was like, you're going to do that for them. You're going to morph into their frequency and you're going to like completely tailor to really understand the way that they move. So you're going to jump deep into the ocean. So they gave me a couple of false starts to kind of jump in, because it was almost like I was standing at the sand looking in the ocean. It's like, no, you need to get down there. You need to really see. It'll all make sense if it doesn't already in a sec, because I'm going to lay some cards and see how you help others and save others. But there's a frequency you hold when you're in that natural state. Some people might not be able to see the grand part of you, because they might not see that in themselves. So they haven't met themselves that deep or seen that side of life yet, so they might not see it in you. And it doesn't mean that you're not worthy because they can't see those things within themselves. It's a frequency thing, really. But we'll get into it. Pile number 2. How have my pile number 2s helped others? How have my pile number 2s saved others? How have my pile number 2s helped others and saved others? How have my pile number 2s helped others and saved others? Okay, so we have the 4 of Swords. I think that naturally, without people even realizing it, I feel like you purify and cleanse people's energy, because I'm being shown like a butterfly with antennas. Not only are you emitting frequencies out, but I feel like you're also taking frequencies in. It almost feels like you're in a natural kind of clearer energetically. I feel like you absorb things. Like, I feel like you'll probably get people say, I was feeling really low and then I was around you and I felt a lot better. And to them it could be just like, oh, I was just feeling down, they make me feel good. They're not realizing energetically what they can't see is you literally absorbing, soaking in energy, clearing it out and it going away, and then you kind of like alchemizing that and feeling good, and then naturally that person feels good. And sometimes you do it without even you realizing, and you've just helped absorb something and clear something, because there's like a clairsentient, empathic, strong empathic energy that resides in you. And I think that's so beautiful. There's a lot of things people don't see that you guys do. Your cards are spilling everywhere. I'm having a hard time getting the cards out. I want to get them out so I can just purely channel and let it flow, because I feel like everything's been a bit choppy. Pile number 2, please, Spirit Guides. How have my pile number 2s helped save others? We have the 3 of Wands. Pile number 2s, please, Spirit Guides. How have my pile number 2s helped others and saved others? We have the 5 of Wands and the King of Swords. And the back of the deck we have the 6 of Wands. Okay, Spirit Guides. 4 of Swords, 3 of Wands, 5 of Wands, King of Swords. It's super interesting, because I don't even think you realize it, but I think that you've held out as a lesson for people in your life without realizing that sort of impact. Or you may even think sometimes, like, back to like an ex connection, like with a friendship or even a family member, or a relationship, and you think back and you're like, I don't know why I keep going around in circles about this person or the ending of this situation. When in actuality, you're picking up on a wound that they may have still attached to you, which is really interesting, because I feel like when you've connected with people, I think that you've, again, morphing into that energy, like around them, you've mirrored them and stepped into their frequencies and kind of mirrored them. And I think that without realizing, you've served as an antidote, you've served as a help in just being there, like just giving a little bit of guidance, just sitting with them while they were going through something. Just it's so like interesting, because now I'm going into celestial energies where you're almost watching over them on a spiritual level, like in a different realm, and holding space for them in a very, very healing way that, again, you're not realizing you're doing. You're just sitting with them and you're absorbing that energy and taking it on. And a lot of people then are being drawn to you for your healing nature. Relationships as well. And I think it's taken you some time to understand the difference between, this is somebody that is coming to me for healing, and this is somebody that's coming towards me because they see me and they see my depth and they want to add to it. It's taken you a second to really realize that, because a lot of your earlier life, you've had people swim to you like a lighthouse and come to you for a level of healing, just to be around you, just to speak with you, just to chat with you, just to be in your presence, just to be in your energy, because you have a soothing way about you. The way that you speak, you soothe people. And I see people saying, I don't know why I'm drawn to them. I don't know why I'm drawn to them. I don't know why I think back to them. I don't know why I'm drawn to them in this way. But it's because there's a depth there that they can feel, but they might not be able to comprehend. So it's almost like they're holding on. But then when it's time for you to maybe go through a rebirth, or something becomes a little bit toxic where people are holding on to you as this light but not choosing to do the light themselves, instead of the light that you're shining out they can use to then alchemize themselves, they might not feel that they can do that. So it's almost like they're trying to anchor your light. They're trying to recapture your light, keep it in a bottle and keep it in their pocket, hold you dear to them and not let you kind of live your life, because they might not be able to comprehend your depths in the way that you move. So then it's almost like when it's time then for you to maybe go back into the ocean, or kind of swim back to where you came from in a way, it's almost like then sometimes that may even bring up some triggers or some wounds within themselves, because it's like that light's no longer there and they now have to sit with their own wounds or something that they're going through, and then it's like they've then got to work through it. So it's almost like the absence of that may trigger them and trigger like an abandonment wound, or they may lash out at you when you start to pull away, because they almost feel entitled to your energy, because it's such a healing energy that you have. And I think this was always the process, because I think that you navigating through life were meant to understand your own depths, understand your own needs, and then shine that light out for other people to see you and be part of your journey, but also for that light to then inspire other people to do that healing. Because like I always say, we don't heal other people, we hold the light out, and we hope that other people then get activated by it and shine that light within themselves. We're not meant to go turn the lights on for other people. In fact, we can't, you know what I mean, if they're not ready to. Whereas I feel like in your earlier life, a lot of people have been drawn to that light but try to savor it for themselves, hold on to it for themselves, but yet not seen you, not respected you, because they couldn't see the depth in you. And I think sometimes it takes you swimming back into the ocean and shining your light, you know, far away, for them to be like, oh wait, that's what they meant. This is their frequency. This is what they meant to me. That light that they were shining, I was trying to hold on to it, but it wasn't my light, and they were just shining that out so that I could shine my own, you know. Because I keep being shown, it's quite difficult in a way to kind of give the depth of how you've helped and saved people, because the way they're describing you is like a limpet in a shell, and the tide came in and the limpet was on land, so the limpet sticks itself to the rock, but any creature or any object from the ocean is going to have a healing resonance within them. But the limpet has that shell to protect it. So the limpet stays stuck on that rock with the shell protecting it, and the crabs and the other little barnacles and stuff, they hold on to this limpet for dear life, and they suck themselves onto it, and they stay there because they can feel the warmth and the light of this limpet within. And they might even like feed off it a little bit, but when that tide comes back in, the crab's going to get washed away. The barnacle's then going to get up off the rock and swim back into the ocean, because that's its journey. And then the crab's like, oh my god, that light, it's gone, and I was feeding off it. But then that crab could easily go, well, the light that they had, it's coming from the ocean over there. Let me go jump into that ocean. Let me, do that healing on myself, so that it can activate that healing in people. And I think sometimes you've been a lesson in people's lives, because there's this feeling of you not hanging around for too long. Maybe because sometimes as well you go through your own inner healing and your own inner work and your own alchemization, that you have to retreat sometimes. And I think that that's acted as a catalyst sometimes for other people to not only see your worth and see that light in you and see that depth in you, but also to follow that cord all the way back home within themselves to do that healing and work on themselves. And I think that especially your earlier life and the people that you've encountered through relationships and friendships that maybe you've had to cut off because maybe they were trying to pull from you or take advantage of your energy, I don't think you realize how much of a catalyst you were for them, especially as time goes on and you turn yourself into that lighthouse and shine that light out for other people, whilst also maintaining really strong boundaries. I think that whole journey and process that you have in your life of doing that is going to aid in people, one, not judging a book by its cover, two, learning to respect others and not take from others in that way, and three, find their own way to their own salvation instead of trying to pull at somebody else, because I think that you're here as strong light workers and healers, but healers serve those who resonate with that frequency and want to do that work. The people that don't want to do that work, it might not register, and a lot of the times they'll try and suck that energy and hold on to that energy and tarnish that frequency, or even if they're scared of the light and their own wounds, they may try and put the light out. So there has to be strong boundaries for anyone working in any sort of healing professions. And I think that that journey for you, people are watching and have witnessed, and I think that's actually helped people understand that there are depths to you and other people, and there are also depths to themselves. And if they do what you've done and shine that light within, and try and embody the light that they were trying to pull from you, they too can activate that within themselves and heal. So you help people see themselves deeper and go on a journey within, even if in the moment they don't realize it. Because with the 5 of Wands here, and we're looking at, people kind of battling it out, and that friction in itself is your earlier life, you shining that light out, maybe not being, haven't learned boundaries yet, because a lot of empaths and light workers have to learn the empath lesson of, putting in those boundaries and not pouring into people that don't really want to do the healing. They just want someone else to do it for them. And I think that you pulling that away, it's caused friction, but cause a rebirth, or in time will cause that rebirth where people are able to see differently and access that energy within themselves. So if you have had people, when you've pulled away or gone within yourself for healing, or you've set boundaries and people have taken that to heart, know that they'll get it at one point. And sometimes when that light then is taken away, because they weren't even using it anyway, they were just feeding off somebody else's, people then are able to sit with that shadow and become aware of it and help it purge out. So even that triggering in itself helps people acknowledge parts of themselves that they might not have been able to see had you not shone the light on it and then taken away in the first place. So yours is very different. Yours is very unique in the way that you've helped save others. And I think that moving on then, you become in that lighthouse, because the way that you do save and help others, it gets stronger the more you pour into yourself. And maybe you were taught in childhood that you had to self-sacrifice for other people, which is why so many people were trying to climb and hold on to your light. But I think for you guys, those boundaries and pouring into yourself in that way, it actually serves as you shining even brighter for more souls to really see you and activate those depths within themselves so that they can see you even deeper again, you know. And also that light shining out has that frequency, those antennas emitting a frequency for other people that are just like you to see that somebody just like them is out there too, and then you're able to align with your people, which is really, really beautiful. So yours is quite interesting. I've got oracle cards to pull as well, but so far it's been really, really interesting, because I think you have such a depth to you, and such a multifaceted, multi-dimensional kind of layered way in which you move. It's so interesting, but I think sometimes people don't even realize the light you're emitting until you take it away. People don't realize how much you are helping and saving them until you've gone. And I think the memory sometimes of that light makes someone to embody it too, so that helps people. And I think you've helped people more than you realize, especially your earlier like friendships and relationships like that. I don't think you realize how much you have had your energy mirror people, even if it was triggering and they tried to target you at one point because maybe you were taking it away or they felt entitled to it. The boundaries and you pouring into yourself help people more than you know. You know what I mean? Otherwise you would have just been letting people just take your light. You would have been being drained, and then other people were just feeding off it and not doing their own work. You had to put those boundaries in, because then that's when they started to realize, and that's when they started to learn that lesson. Yeah, so let's pull some more cards. Pile number 2, please, spirit guides. How do my pile number 2 save and help others? We have prayer, hope. I'm going to lay 3 cards and then I'll channel them. How do my pile number 2s save and help others? We have North, solitude. How do my pile... I'm hearing Nasa from Ariana Grande when she's like, I'd rather be alone tonight. You can say I love you through the phone tonight. Again, that light, people think that you're just going to be the savior to them. But the thing is that you are your own person, and you're actually someone to be able to hold this frequency or maybe purge a lot of frequencies. You need a lot of time in solitude. And I think, again, that's a mirror of like, why do they keep turning the light off? Because they're preserving it for themselves. Like, they need to. You're not meant to just be pouring into people constantly or you'll be drained. And you going into solitude and you taking your energy where you need it, I think that helps people as well. And it helps you and protects you from people taking advantage and just leaning on you too much. You know what I mean? Because 2 lighthouses are meant to come together in any sort of partnership, whether it's a friendship, relationship, anything like that. Otherwise, one's just going to be sucked dry and it's going to be an imbalanced connection. And I think that in itself, and your need for solitude and your need for the tide to go out sometimes, has kept you safe, because anyone that is able to understand your depths will also have the tide going out in their own life sometimes, and will understand when you do it too, you know. And I think when that tide goes out, like I said, people see you then as that lighthouse. Like, I want to do that inner work too, because I want to hold that frequency and not have to feed off of somebody else or have somebody else just be my source of it. And those that just want someone to be that source of it, I think your absence then and your boundaries has them really have a long hard think of maybe some wounds and triggers that they were trying to avoid by trying to bask in your light, you know, instead of letting that light activate theirs. And we have the medicine bag, treasure. The back of the deck, we have expression, flute. I don't think you need to do a whole lot necessarily to help others or save others. I think just your presence alone, because you're doing so much. You probably resonate a lot with my like celestial readings and my starseed readings and my deep Akashic record readings, because there's so much you're doing in other realms that sometimes you don't even see. And I think that is something that helps people. It's really interesting. It's almost like I'm linking with somebody and I could have just been having a chat with them, but now I'm in communication with their spirit guides and their higher self, and we're working on something energetically right here. So it's like you help protect and look after people spiritually without realizing it. I see you doing work on people, like healing on people in another realm, like energetically. Your lucid dreams, if you have lucid dreams or astral projections, may be quite interesting, and you may find that a lot of people from your life show up in your dreams quite strongly, and you helping them out, because I think that happens a lot in the other realms where you're helping out certain souls. So it's really interesting that I do feel a lot of people do feel a kingship to you in that way, just for your frequency, to be honest with you. Like I said, you guys were like that little limp bit crab on the rock, and then people kind of gravitating towards it and trying to hold on to it. I do feel that you just the frequency that you emit really clears people, and you'll probably find a lot of people talk to you and just tell you a bunch of things. I see you just sitting there and people just revealing life stories to you, because it's like, this person feels safe, I want to tell them about this. This person feels safe, I need to let them know about this. So I do see that as well, a whole lot. And also just like activating people in a way of people just really being drawn to you and not knowing why, or maybe just your aura in general. People may see that light, want to embody it, and then maybe try and mimic you, but they think that maybe because they don't understand the energetic frequency that you're embodying, they think maybe it's a physical thing that you're doing. So it's like people may mimic the way you speak, or your hair, or your makeup, or your clothes, or whatever that is, because they're trying to mimic the light that you're holding, not realizing that it's nothing to do with anything that you're wearing, it's just your aura. And that's another thing that I'm picking up on as well. Yeah, and even when you do have people get triggered by that light and project onto you, you're helping move something deep-seated within themselves that they are then having to face. So even when it might not be the prettiest, in the sense of there may be like a big insecurity cropping up in somebody, it's being moved by your light and it's being brought up for that person. So when you have people that don't like you for no reason, you've never said 2 words to them, or they're just projecting, there's something you're moving within them, because like I said, you do mirror a lot. So that does happen as well. And even when it does look a little bit dark, it is helping that soul come to terms with something and release something. And I think that's why we have the medicine bag here, treasure, because there's a lot hidden. You know, we can't really see what's in that medicine bag all too much. I think there's a lot hidden that you guys do that you might not even be aware of. So let me know if you want a reading in regards to looking at what your soul's up to in other realms, and any topic to do with what you do for people energetically, because I think that would really resonate with you guys. Pile number 2, please, spirit guides. How do my pile number 2? I was saying you're a mirror to people, and we have smoke and mirrors. Interesting. I think sometimes people might project their wounds onto you. Please don't listen when people do that. Like I said, when you start to stay in your shell, or the tide goes out and you go out with that, and that being decides that they're too scared to go into that ocean, they may project a fear or something onto you, because they're too scared to jump into that ocean. They may project a lot of that onto you, and don't take those projections on. You may have done in the past, which is very normal. Sometimes I've done it as well, but other people's perceptions of you are not your reality, and you know who you are, because I do see that people have done that sometimes. But as well as that light, you're also activating that in other people to want to swim into the ocean too, because they know that that's part of their purpose too. So it's a double-edged sword for sure, and you may feel that way. Sorry guys, it was my fault, I knocked the stand over. I was saying you may even feel sometimes like your gifts have been a double-edged sword as you've been wading through the waters to try and stabilize them and understand them. And I think it's always was meant to be a journey, because I think you were meant to go on a journey as well of self-discovery beyond feeling the need to be everybody's savior and healer, you know, because we're meant to heal ourselves, hold the light, and other people can get activated by it. But I feel like people have tried to project that you're meant to be that healer for them and just hold that warmth for them. And there's nothing wrong with holding light for people in every day, but when people are just feeding off it, don't even respect who they're feeding it off, and just trying to pull, and you're becoming depleted, it's taken you away from your purpose, and it's taken you away from who you are, because your whole entire existence evolves around being that light and healer for someone, instead of understanding all the beautiful, wonderful parts of you, you know. And I think you've had to go on that journey. Pile number 2, how have my pile number 2s helped? We have open to discovery. One more card from this deck. How have my pile number 2s? We have Wake and the Lion. These 2 cards came up for pile number 1 as well. And we have the Oracle's Gift at the back of the deck. Yeah, so 7, 8, 9, 10. I think you also show up at in people's lives in a very poignant time. Like someone's going through a shift or a transformation, you show up. And I think that you work as a spirit guide for people as well, but I do feel like you've helped people while they've been jumping through frequencies and jumping through realms as well. And I don't think you realize how much that has helped people, because you have such a healing nature there as well. But sometimes people might want to just hold on to you and not embody that next realm that they're jumping to, and that's not why you're here, and that's not fair on you either. Open to discovery and Wake and the Lion. I think that you also help people stand on their own 2 feet, like I said, especially with open to discovery, the 2 lots of stars here. And I think pile number 2, you're meant to activate the other lighthouses. You're meant to activate the lighthouses within people. I think that you are here to help other healers and other empaths understand their own light and understand their own depths. You know what I mean? And I think that's what you're here to do. And I think that's how you're going to go on and continue helping others and saving others, but through your own lessons of having to learn boundaries and put in firm boundaries, and realize that you can't heal everybody, and realizing that you can bring a horse to the river but you can't make it drink, and all of those lessons you've learned. While learning those lessons, you've also helped and guided and healed the people that may have tried to latch onto you in those ways, or didn't feel that they had it within them to embody a certain frequency, you know. But you just putting those boundaries in with people, that you have served as a really strong lesson for them too. Even if you feel like you're only now stepping into your purpose, putting in those boundaries and shining that light, even when you were that limpet on the rock, you were also really helping people learn certain lessons. Even if they were karmic lessons, you were helping people learn that, and helping people that, whether you realize it or not, or whether you saw it as maybe a darker time, or, you know, ugly emotions arose in the people that that were learning those lessons through you, you still were helping them. And that's something that I want to say. And that's why I'm being shown the double-edged sword. You may have felt that way with your gifts sometimes, that they were a double-edged sword, because it's not for the weak. But yeah, I think yours was really interesting, and went in a completely different direction than I thought it would go. Yeah, so pile number 2, thank you for watching. Hit the thumbs up and comment down below if you enjoyed. I will have the link to Jess's channel in the description box with part 2 of the collab if you haven't watched that one already. And yeah, hopefully I will see you guys in my next video. So thank you guys for watching. Hey pile 3, welcome to your reading. So we are taking a look at how you help and save others. So you guys chose the rose quartz heart crystal. I'm going to start with tarot, and then we will move on to your oracle cards. So let's get in. So pile number 3, please, spirit guides, tap me into the collective of my pile number 3 is the rose quartz pile. I almost wanted to say my heart chakra pile. So I feel like your heart chakra may be quite at the forefront of this reading. Pile number 3, please, spirit guides. Pile number 3. Do you know what's interesting? When I tap into you, your heart chakra is so wide and open, and you have such beautiful, strong boundaries. And I think that sometimes the way that you help and save others is through a little bit of tough love, which may sometimes look to people, especially people that don't understand the depth of love and that frequency, it may look to people like, oh, that person's being harsh, or that person's being very black and white. But in actuality, setting those boundaries or telling people the truth is going to have people able to grow, and I see you wanting the best for people in the best possible way, and that's one of the strongest forms of love for people. And I think that you embody that so beautifully in a way that some people are quite scared to, you know, they're scared of the repercussions, they're scared of wanting to be liked, you know what I mean, or wanting their opinion to be the one that's chosen. But I think that your own integrity, morality, and just embodiment of truth, I think really does help and has helped others and helped healed others, because it's helped people no longer maybe project onto things or lie to themselves and really look at themselves and be real with themselves. And I think you've really helped people evolve in that way, which is really interesting. Even when you've had to just poke at people's maybe, you know, parts that they're just not able to see yet, I think that you guys really do that. And I think you're super authentic in that way. And you really show up. You really show up and show out for people. Yeah, you know, like it's like somebody putting out a birthday thing and not a lot of people turn up to that person's birthday. You'd be the one there. Like, I feel like, because I do that sometimes, like, well, not so much anymore, but with friends that I used to have, I'd sort like a birthday situation out, and then like no one would come, and I'd be like, oh, okay. And I would just be like, oh, but there was always this one friend that would always show, and I'd be like, I respect you, like, you always turn up, you know what I mean, like, you're always there, and I love that. And I feel like you'd be that person, because the reason I'm laughing is my spirit guides were like, they'd show up for a birthday party for you. I'm like, oh, they would. So that's what I'm picking up from you guys. Like, you're that type of person. You're very loyal, and I don't think you realize how much that means to people. And I'm gonna say here, like, especially with myself, when I, like, not anymore, but back in the day when I'd sort out things, like, it really meant something when people would show up, you know, like that one person that would show up, it really meant something. And I don't think you realize you showing up and showing out and being loyal to people in that way, like, it really means something. Like, I feel like I can really rely on you. So that's the sort of vibe I'm picking up. So like, I see people talking about you like you're a really good friend, you're a really good person to have in someone's corner, even if you have to tell someone off sometimes, you know, or be the mother or be the father. I think that you help people in that way, which is really lovely, really, really lovely. Pile number 3, please, spirit guides, how do my pile number 3s help and save others? We have the 2 of Pentacles. Where other people would run, you show up. Pile number 3. Do you know why you show up as well, and why you've helped others? Sometimes we have friends that are only meant to be surface level, and people always say sometimes, like, you know your true friends when you're going through something. That's when you really see who your true friends are. Who is there when you're really going through something. You're that ride or die friend. You're that friend where when everyone else has run away because they only want you, that person around when they're feeling good, you're there through the storm. In fact, you could even meet people through the storm. You could meet people when they're at their lowest and be like, I'm your pal, because I see you and I get you, and it's not about what you're offering me. I'm just here for you. Like, this is vibes, you know, like, that's you guys. I feel like you're such a resilient person. And a lot of situations, again, people are running away, but like, you're there. And I just think that's really beautiful. There's this TikTok or like video, and it was like all of these sheep, and then someone was calling them and all of the sheep ran away except for this one little sheep, and he just stood and he kind of had this little smile on his face and he was looking at the guy, and the caption was something like, and there's always that one homie in the squad that sticks by you through anything. And I'm being shown that because I feel like that's you guys, which is really, 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 really lovely. We have the 2 of Wands reversed, and we have the 8 of Wands. Eight of Wands. We also have the Queen of Wands. Okay. And the back of the deck, you have the 4 of Pentacles reversed. You're also the type of person very much of like, what's mine is yours, in the sense of like, I feel like if you were in my life, and this is where I feel like you're a ride or die, because maybe you're not for everyone. You're not spilling all of this onto everybody. You're doing it for the people that are in your circle. The way you're coming through is like a lion with its pride. And the lion, you know, they'll be in their pride, but then they'll have like rivalry with someone else, or there'll be another pride, but that lion isn't taking care of the other pride. It's just taking care of its own, because that's its circle. It has its heavy boundaries, and that's its circle. And I feel like there's a fierceness of you when it comes to your inner circle that I think really does help and save people, because it's like, I know this person's got my back. And when someone is going through really hard emotions and at dark times, it's hard when you've got to go through them on your own and you feel like no one will get it. And it can be a very scary thing, especially when you're out in the world on your own. And it's like, if I wasn't here, who would know? Or if I... And these are the thoughts that come up. They've come up for myself, and I know that they've come up for people around you, because they're coming through. When, you know, it's like, if I couldn't work today and I lost everything, where would I go? Who would I have to turn to? I'd be lost. And there's that fear that can come up, and that scary feeling and that lonely feeling that come up. But that's where you pop into people's minds. Like the people in your circle, it's like, no, I know I can count on my pal threes, and I know my pal threes would be there, and I know my pal threes would care if I was gone, and my pal threes care about me, you know. And I think even when people go through their own transformations and their own you know, bad times, and the tide goes out, you're still there through every single shift. You're still there, because it's not about what you were doing for them or how they were tickling your ego or anything like that. You were around them for them. You were around them for their energy, their frequency. That's a part of you. That's family. And that really helps people. When you have someone that you can trust, and you have someone that in a crowded room would stick up for you, that really helps people. And I feel like you've been that. And I also feel you give off like older sibling vibes, that if somebody was to really put someone you love down, you'd stick up for them so strongly. And I think because you want the best for people, it's like, if somebody's acting out of just like to the point of self-pity, where they may be relying on something too much, you're the type of person to be like, no, this is why you need tough love. This is why I need to tell you that you did wrong there. Like, I'm going to tell you where you went wrong. And you don't just sugarcoat, because you're not just trying to people please for validation. You really care about people. So saying to somebody, you shouldn't have done that, or you shouldn't have responded to that, or you shouldn't have stooped down to that level, or you saying that wasn't right, people respect it, and they know that you genuinely do care, and they can rely on you, because it's like, you want the best for them and for them to be the best version of themselves. So you let them know when they're crossing the line, and you let them know where they could have done better, and you let them know where there may have been times where they were just going round in cycles, or you point out those cycles to them, because it's like, you can do better than this. I want to see you do better than this. You're that type of person. You're the type of person where if somebody goes, I want to start the gym, you're up in the morning with them and going to the gym with them. You are that person. And there's a resilience to you in that. There's a grit to you there. That's so beautiful. It's like, I have you, you know. Why do we have the Two of Wands and then the Two of Wands reversed, and then the Eight of Wands? Because with the Two of Wands reversed and then the Eight of Wands, I'm hearing and then the Queen of Wands, you're coming through like an anchor in a way. You anchor people, you ground people, you remind people of their own truth, and you help people stay in line with their own goals as well. Kind of like a divine masculine energy coming through, especially with the wands and the fire energy. It's a very masculine energy. You don't have to be a male. It doesn't matter the gender. It's just you help people commit to themselves and their goals. But what I was saying was, I was sharing Mac Miller Good News, and he sings good news, that's all they want to hear. They don't like it when I'm down. And it's, you know, in a world where we always feel like we have to perform for somebody, we have to have our best face on, I feel like people realize quite early on with you, you know, I see somebody in like a cave and it's like, I don't want to go out there right now. And they expect you then to be like, oh, okay, and walk back out the cave and look for somebody else. But instead you sit down next to them in the cave in their darkness and the damp when you could be elsewhere. And you're like, so what should we do in here? You know, what should we talk about? Is there anything you want to talk about? What's going on? Like, you're there for them. There's like a resilience there. I keep being shown, you know, the locks they have in like Amsterdam and Paris where you put like two people's names on a lock and you attach it to the thing and then you attach it to the bridge and then you chuck the key in the river. That sort of connection I feel people feel to you. Like, you're really going to show up and show out for them, and you've helped people so much doing that. Because a lot of people as well, you know, a lot of people can go through difficult childhoods and feel like they can't rely on people and lean on people. And I think, and it's something I've been working through well, being open to relying on people and open to leaning on people. And somebody said to me not long ago, some people want to help. Some people want to guide you. Some people want to show up for you. You don't have to do it all on your own. Someone said that to me recently and I was like, yeah, that's kind of true, because I want to help people. And I think that when people are learning to lean on people and learning to be open like that, you give people hope in that way, and you serve as a catalyst that they can, and that there are people out there like that. And I think that really helps people in softening their heart space, but also knowing that there are people out there like them. You know, you show up for people in the physical, and I think that's really, really beautiful. Really beautiful. So let's pull some more oracle cards. Pile number 3, please, spirit guides. How do my pile number 3 save and help others? I do see you as well, and I don't know if it's maybe siblings, but you've helped save siblings or family members in your life as well. Like, I don't know if you've helped people maybe get sober, or you've helped people get out of bad situations, or you've given people a place to stay, or you've stood up for people when people were turning against them. I see you always sticking up for the underdog. Maybe in school, you know, you've had friends that maybe were bullied and you've stood up for them. There's a lot of that, and you almost acting as a shield sometimes for people and really standing up for people when they haven't had the strength in them to do that. And that's another thing. There's a lot of gratitude for you and who you are as a person, pile number 3. We have Tree of Life, Conception. Ooh. Pile number 3, please, spirit guides. How have my pile number 3s helped and saved others? We have the Tree People, Sustenance. Look at all the roots. This is what I mean. You're like the root. You're like the you're the root that holds and grounds the tree. You're the one showing up in the physical and holding the fort down and supplying the nutrients that, like, you are that person. I also feel you guys are an incredible pick-me-up as well, which is very healing to people. I think that you're able to, like, distract people and help people be reminded of the brighter side of life and the lighter side of life, and just have a laugh with people and be that for people. I think that you have an incredible way of doing that as well, which again is, you know, tending to those roots, because for the roots to be in the soil, they've got to have, you know, the water to nourish them, and then as they crop up from the ground, and they need the sun to activate them. And I feel like you provide a lot of that, a lot of the grit needed, which is really lovely. Really, really lovely. And I think you just stick up for people constantly. Like, I just see you always having people's backs, even if that then makes you a target. It's like I'm going down with the ship sort of thing. We also have Feathers, Restoration. And the back of the deck, we have Renewal, Birth. And look at that, we have the seed as well. The seed here as well. So there's a lot of connection to the roots, making sure that the foundations are stable. Which is interesting as well, because you have the 4 of Pentacles at the back of the deck. And when we think of the 4 of Pentacles, it's like we pour into ourselves and we don't go giving that energy out anywhere. We focus and kind of like harbor that energy for when it's really needed. And I think that you do that for the people that really need it, to build that kind of strong foundation. You know who you reminded me of? This is quite funny. Jordan Belfort from The Wolf of Wall Street, when he chooses to step down from his company and everyone's talking about how he helped them, you know, and he helped the woman to get back on her feet because she was struggling with her son, and he talks about that, and then he's about to end, but then he knows he loves everyone there, so he's like, I'm not effing leaving, like I'm not leaving, because he wants to stay as part of it. And I don't know, I feel like you have a sense of community. You feel like an elder to people, and that community helps people. That feeling of community, even if sometimes it is just you and said person, you give that, you know, you hold the fort and you give that sense of friendship and love and strong inner divine mother, inner divine father energy that helps people feel connected at their root and helps people feel like they have a home in someone. And it really helps people. It's really beautiful. There's nothing better in the world than feeling safe, let alone feeling safe with someone too, because human beings crave connection, and you supplying that in such a beautiful way is so lovely. Yeah, so let's pull your final oracle cards. Pile number 3. Pile number 3, please, spirit guides. How do my pile number 3s help and save others? Ooh. We have It Is What It Is. We have See and Beyond. One more card, please, spirit guides. How do my pile number 3 save and help others? We have Open to Discovery. That card's come out in every reading. The back of the deck, you have Waken the Lion. This card has come out in every reading as well. I think you serve as the lion. I think that's your energy. I think that you're fierce and very protective over people, which is why, again, they feel safe. Why do we have It Is What It Is? See, this is the thing. There's a bluntness to you that helps people understand. There's a bluntness with the See and Beyond card, and It Is What It Is, of like opening people's eyes to the black and white sometimes, so that they don't get lost. It's like if they were Neptune, you would be Uranus, you know, like you'd be the one creating a very big shift to help them see something. And even though in the moment that shift could be scary or like, whoa, that's a big truth bomb, when the dust settles, it's like, no, that needed to happen. I just couldn't see it at the time. And that's really, really, really beautiful. I would also say you maybe come through a little bit like Saturn as well. People look to you a little bit like a parent as well. I don't know if you have siblings that you parent. I don't know if you have family members that you have to look after, or maybe this is how, you know, a lot of your kids see you if you have kids, or with your friendships, you may be the mother or father of the group, or the older sibling sort of vibe, but you're the one that cares, and it shows really strongly in the way that you relate to people, and because of that, people feel really at home with you. Why do we have Open to Discovery for my pile number 3s? Again, it's talking about holding space and comforting people when they're going through their own darkness, and being a friend to them as they walk through their own darkness and they go through their own shifts. You're that friend walking with them, keeping company and keeping them on the straight and narrow, I feel, a lot of the time, and being the realist. And I think people really respect you for that, because I see you in times when there's been a storm and you've still stood up for people, even though you may have taken the brunt of it, because that's a loyalty that you have there. And I hope you have people in your life that do that for you too, pile 3. And I see you opening to people doing that to you too if they don't already. And I feel the people close to you do that to you too. Yeah, so pile number 3, that is what I have for you guys. I really hope that you enjoyed the reading. Hit the thumbs up and comment down below if you did. I will have the link to Jess's channel in the description box for you to head over there to watch part 2 if you haven't already. I hope you have a beautiful morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you're watching. And hopefully I'll see you guys in my next video. So thank you guys for watching. Hey Pile 4, welcome to your reading. So we are taking a look at how you help and save others. So you guys chose the pyrite crystal. I'm going to start with tarot and then we'll move on to your oracle cards. So let's get in. So pile number 4, please, spirit guides. Pile number 4. How do my pile number 4s... Oh, hang on. I dropped a card on the floor. How do my pile number 4s help others, and how do my pile number 4s save others? So we have the Tower. Put it here. How do my pile number 4s help others? How do my pile number 4s save others? We have the 7 of Cups. We have the Page of Pentacles. One thing I'll say about you is you really listen to people. Like, you really give people a stage and listen. And not just because it's like, oh, I'm being passive. It's like, no, I'm listening to you. I want to know about your button collection, for example. Like, I want to know about that movie that no one else has seen that you're raving about. Like, I want to know what makes you tick. I want to get you. I want to explore you. I want to see you. And I'm open to you blooming, you know. And I'm not, there's such a non-judgment about it too. Like, those parts of you, I'm excited about them. Like, those parts of you and those colors and all of those sides to you, like, I'm celebrating them. I love that about you. And I think that not only from a more shallow perspective, like maybe like boosts someone's confidence, but it goes way deeper because it's like, you want to get to know me. Like, it's not about a give and take. It's not about, I want you to be this for me, or I want you to hold space for me. It's like, no, you want to get to know me. You ask these questions that no one else asked, and you remember these things about me that other people might not have been even listening to. You respect me. And I think that that's so beautiful in a world where people feel the need to put on masks because people will take from them. You know, we talk about all the time, oh, well, people walk around with masks, but we forget sometimes to realize why people walk around with masks. People can take things from people. People can project nasty things onto people's true expressions. And sometimes people will be talking about things and other people are like, oh, I don't want to hear it because it doesn't, it's not doing anything for them. So it's like, I don't care, because they're not seeing that person or wanting to get to know that person. They're just seeing what fits them and stapling it to them, and only if it helps them, whereas you don't do that. And I think that's a rare find, and I think that that's something that really helps people and really saves people, because it's like, not only is it just the case of like someone cares, but human beings are so deep and we have so many different colors and sides to us, and we're taught to bury our inner child and bury that adventurous side and bury all of these sides, that sometimes that light goes out, that inner child light goes out, and that happiness goes out, and we think, what's the use, and we just let go of it. And that was a big part of us, and you're there to remind people of that love that inner child had for flowers, or that love that inner child had for animals, and the vulnerability that soul wanted to express. And you know, sometimes people get excited over things and people will be like, oh, you're being too much, and you're like, no, be too much. You know, that's the type of person you are. You're like, be too much. I love that that excites you. That's part of you, and I love that about you. Like, you want to see people, you have an interest in people, and that really helps people feel comfortable and confident in sharing and blooming parts of themselves that society probably tells them to hide away. And I think that's really, really beautiful, because it could have come a point where that inner child could have just decided to give up and float away. But you say, no, I want to know about that. That inner child's lit up, and that creativity is still blooming in that person. And that helps people so much. You know, you really ask these questions and want to know things. It's reminding me, I was watching clips of the real daytime in America, and there's a woman on there called Jeannie Mai. And what I loved about Jeannie was, not only was she always really chirpy, but whenever they had guests, she'd ask them these questions that I wouldn't even think to ask. She really listened. And I remember somebody asking her about that on the show, and she was saying, but I want to know your backstories. I want to know why you choose to do certain things. I want to know your story. I want to know these things, because that's how you get intimate with people, and that's how you get people. And I think that's such a sign of someone so genuine, because it's like, I want to know these things. I want to see you. I want to see the human that you are. And we're taught to be very surface level, and you want to see people's depths, just like I was explaining about Jeannie Mai. And I think that's so that's just so beautiful, which, similar to pile number 1, allows you to see past people's masks that they put on in that front, but in a way of, I want to know about that version of you. I want to know about that version of you. What made you take that job on? Do you have a love for this? What else do you do? Like, I don't think you realize how much that helps people bloom. And in people having those parts of them bloom, it can really save and help them, and activate parts of them, and give them pride over things that they may have been told to shut away. And maybe even give them a better perspective of themselves, and see something as valuable when they've been told their whole life that it was, and that they need to stop doing it. And that really helps. Really, really helps. Pile number 4, please, spirit guides. How do my pile number 4s help and save others? We have the 9 of Swords. The back of the deck, we have the 4 of Swords, reversed, actually. It's like you're waking things from their sleeping chamber. It's like things that people even forgot about. And I think you're the type of person as well that, like, someone could say like a little story to you, and you'd take so much from it that, like, say you were to give a gift to somebody, you'd tailor it to them. Like, for example, like, you really listen. Like I said, people really feel like they can open up to you and that you won't judge. And again, that really helps people, because to know that there's a safe space for feelings to land, to know that there's a safe space for the thoughts going on in somebody's mind to land, that can help people more than you know, and you allow that and you don't judge. But on top of that, I think that you're the type of person where you don't just give a gift to give a gift, you tailor it to what somebody needs or wants. You know, somebody could have like a CD, like a song that means a lot to them, and it's really hard to get your hands on a copy of that CD, and that song really means something, and you remembered them talking about it. You're the type to go and get your hands on that CD and give it to them as a gift. Like, you don't just buy someone flowers, you tailor it. Someone could be going through, you know, a grieving moment, and you choose the flower that's connected with, you know, helping somebody move on from grief. Like, you tailor things in that way, and you make things so super personal that people feel seen, they feel, you know, touched, similar to pile number 1. But also it's people feel safe to bloom with you, and I think that's incredibly beautiful. People feel safe to. And you're the type of person as well where, so there's a conversation going on, and you know, like, you'll speak and somebody may speak over and then go into another conversation while that person wasn't done. You're the type of person to stay and listen to that person talking and continue that conversation because they were speaking first, and really, you know, like, I see somebody talking about something and no one's really interested, you're the type to be interested in that. And that really makes someone's day. It's reminded me as well of in the office. I remember Pam, she was an artist and she drew a painting, and she had it on the wall in this art gallery, and she was waiting for all of the people at the office to show up, and she told them to and you know, this is a little quirk that she had and something that she liked to do, and no one showed up for her at all except for Michael Scott, the manager. And he comes in at the last minute, and she's really sad because no one's turned up. And not only does Michael show up, but he's so mesmerized with the painting and he's so excited, and then he asks to purchase it on top of that, and he actually takes it back to the office and hangs it up. And on top of that, he says to her, you know, I'm so proud of you, and you can see it means a lot to her, and she gives him a hug. And I thought that was really heartwarming, and I feel like you're that person, you know, you're that person that really wants to know these things and tailors to the needs of people, and really respects people's quirks and respects what lights people up, because it's like that's what made this human a human, and you love that, and that can be really rare to find, and you show up as very genuine there. And I think to the point that people feel like they don't even need to put a mask on with you, you know, in a world where they feel they have to put a mask on, they feel safe to not have to do that. They feel safe to kind of present, you know, themselves to you, and that you won't judge because you respect all of those parts to them. They don't feel the need to, you know, hide the teddy that they still have on their bed because it comforts them. They don't feel the need to hide that type of music that they like because people might make fun of them, you know. They know you won't judge that, and that can really make people feel seen and heard. And I think you really help people, Palamba, for with really listening to people. I feel as well you'd make really good, if you don't already have kids, because I feel like you would do this for your kids too, but if you don't have kids and you want them, I feel like you'd make really good parents in helping children feel seen and express their authentic selves. And if you do have kids, I feel like you do that for them, which is super beautiful to know that, you know, babies are being raised with that, because they're able to express themselves in a really authentic way, and know that all parts of them are worthy. And I just think that's so beautiful, powerful, that you hold space for that. So let's pull some oracle cards. Pile number... You make people feel safe to bring their dormant parts up and shine light on their inner child, and shine light on those parts of themselves, and maybe shine light on uncomfortable emotions because they know you won't judge. Pile number 4, please, spirit guides. Pile number 4. How do my pile number 4s save and help others? Oh, we have the flute expression. Pile number 4, please, spirit guides. Pile number 4. We have North Solitude. Pile number 4, please, spirit guides. Pile number 4. How do my pile number 4s help and save others? And I think you express yourself too, and I think also your own quirks and ways of having your own you know, your own little quirks and your own little talents and your own little hobbies, and standing in them unapologetically. I think that also helps people to do it too. When people see that you're dressed in the way that you want to dress, it holds space for other people to do it too. When you are taking on a career that may be different to most, it makes other people feel confident to do that too. When you are open to, you know, certain music that you listen to that may not be what everybody else listens to, you make other people feel comfortable with that too. And even owning your emotions, being vulnerable with your heart space. You know, a lot of people are like, oh, it's a weakness. It's not a weakness at all. And you guys, you know, expressing your emotions in that way, I think that also holds space for other people to do it too, and not feel like they're abnormal in doing that. And I think that's really, really, really beautiful in allowing people to bloom, because one, they see you blooming, but also you hold space for them to bloom, to the point that they even come to you to bloom sometimes, because they feel safe in it. And I think that's really wonderful. I think that's really lovely. Expression, yeah, that's what I was getting, like the music, creating your own kind of song. It's like your own authenticity. Why do we have solitude? Why do we have solitude? yeah, it's like coming out of the cave. Like, I'm thinking of like animals, and people are like, oh, stay away from that animal because of all the projections on it. It's like, oh, it's dangerous, or it's this, or it's that. And everything needs love, and everything's definitely deserving of respect. So I think that you kind of are an advocate in that way. Could be an advocate for like animals and things as well. You could even like save animals as well, and that's something coming through. But I do feel that you like, I see somebody maybe in like a class not really being spoken too much, or I see someone in like a play school and a kid not really being talked too much, and you looking out for that child, or even you being in school and looking out for someone that people may be projecting onto. I feel like you really do look out for people in that way, which is really lovely. Especially because, do you remember in school, people used to be really judgmental in school. Kids can be really judgmental and be mean to people, and I feel like I don't see you ever really doing that. I see you guys really being there for people. We also have the conch shell calling. A lot to do with music and sound here. I feel like you do big people up a lot. I see somebody dancing on stage and you stood up clapping, like, yes. I feel like you're the type of person to support the hopes and dreams of your friends and people in your circle. I even see like somebody cycling past you and you're like clapping for them, like, woo, like, I just feel like you do that. I think you motivate people to go on. And I think like, I see somebody feeling insecure to wear something, like put a piece of jewelry on, and you're like, no, do it. Or someone's scared to put like a book out into the world, and you're like, do it, do it, do it. Like, you're such an advocate for that. I think you help push people off the ledge in a positive way to break the mold and do something and be seen. And rip a band-aid off or rip a mask off. I think that you encourage people to do that, and I think that helps people to jump into their own authenticity, which is so lovely. Yeah, and with the hope card prayer here, I feel like you're such a cheerleader for people that really helps people and saves people. Pile number 4. Pile number 4, please, spirit guides. How have my pile number 4s helped and saved others? We have Awakening Genius. And I was saying with the 4 of Swords card there, reversed, it's like, I was being shown you awakening things from your subconscious. We have Feeling the World. It's a very Aquarian nature to you. I will say that. One more card, please, spirit guides. The Power of Purpose. It's like you awaken people to their own purpose, because a lot of people's purpose is tailored to their own uniqueness, and you wake people up to their own uniqueness, which has them want to do things in their own way, which then creates their purpose for them. We have Earth Magic at the back of the deck. Awakening Genius, Feeling the World, the Power of Purpose. You hold space for people to be themselves. You hold space to build, for people to build themselves up in a way that makes sense to them. And I feel like as well, you may even sit with people through their tower moments while they're unconditioning themselves from what they were told they had to be, which is really, really lovely. But I think you really advocate and build up people as they're learning about themselves, and activate and really express a love for people's weird and wonderful ways that really helps people, and bringing more of that into their lives, which then helps them to bloom. And in having them bloom, it helps them tap into their own purpose and their own healing, which is so lovely, and their own internal world, and get to know themselves and their own needs, especially when we're taught to not have our own needs. I think you really help people in that way, which is so lovely, powerful. So that's what I have for you guys. I really hope that you enjoyed your reading. Hit the thumbs up and comment down below if you did. I'll have the link to Jess's channel in the description box with part 2 of the collaboration if you haven't seen that already. I'm sending you guys all of my love. I hope you have a beautiful morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you guys are watching, and hopefully I'll see you guys in my next video. So thank you guys for watching.